So today we're going to graph some logarithms, and we're going to start with our basic parent function of log base 2 of x. Now, the thing we want to make sure we know before we get started is, what does logarithm mean? And it means what power of the base is the number. So I'm going to make a t-chart and start picking numbers that will come out nicely for this log base 2. And if I'm asking what power of the base is the number, I want to pick powers of 2. So let's pick some powers of 2, like 4, 2, 1 is actually a power of 2, a half is a power of 2, and a quarter is a power of 2. What power of 2 is 4? 2. What power of 2 is 2? 1. What power of 2 is 1? That's a 0 power. What power of 2 is a half? That's -1. And what power of 2 is a quarter? That's -2. So then I'm going to take and graph this. 1, 0, 2, and up 1, 4, and up 2, a half, down 1, and a quarter, down 2. And this graph is going to look something like this. And you'll notice that it will never cross this y-axis. So in essence, we have an asymptote on that y-axis. Let's keep moving. Our next example, we see we have a translation. We know our h value is equal to -1. Our k value is equal to -4. So I have a translated axis of 1 to the left and 4 down. I'm going to put a fictional new origin at -1, -4, and I'm going to graph the parent function, which again is log base 2 of x, from that new origin point. And once again, I'll use a quarter, a half, 1, 2, and 4 as my numbers. So I get 2, 1, 0, -1, -2 as my points. So from this new origin point, I will take and move over 1 and up 0, which puts me here. Move over 2 and up 1. Move over 4 and up 2. Over a half, down 1, and over a quarter, down 2, and draw my logarithm function in the same way I did before. Looks a little bit like square root, except for the fact that it goes forever in both directions. And then we have a vertical asymptote at x equals 1. Continuing, now you'll notice we have an h of 6, a k of 2, and a y multiplier of 2. So in this case, we also have a new parent function, log base 3 of x. So log base 3. Now I'm going to need to pick powers of 3. So I take some powers of 3, like a ninth, a third, 1, 3, and 9, and get 2, 1, 0, -1, -2 again. It's going to be a pattern. And we multiply all those values in the y column by 2. So I have -4, -2, 0, 2, and 4. And I'm going to graph all my x values in this column with all my y values in this column here on a new translated origin. So I'm going to move over 6, up 2, put my translated origin right there, and from that crosshash, I'm going to take and graph the points in that chart. So I'm going to go over 1, up 0, over 3, and up 2 in this case, over 9, up 4. It's kind of hard to see, back over a third, and down 1, and over a ninth, oops, I'm sorry, over a third and down 2, and over a ninth and down 4. So this graph will look very similar to this. One more example for you. Now you'll notice here I've got a number in front of my x term, which we really don't want. We want this in standard form. So what I'm going to have to do is take the log base 1/4, factor out my 2, be left with x minus 3, and we know that's still not in the standard form. If we want it to be in the standard form, we take the log base 1/4 of the quantity of x minus 3 over a half. So what I have is I have an h value equaling 3, an x multiplier of 1/2, and my new parent function is log base 1/4 of x, which will cause some people some problems when we try to set up a chart. But if you think about it, powers of 1/4 are kind of the same as powers of 4. So I'm going to pick powers of 4. For instance, let's go with 4, 1, 1/4. We could even go to 1/16. What power of 1/4 is 1/16? That's the second power. What power of 1/4 is 1/4? First power. What power of 1/4 is 1? That's the 0 power. And what power of 1/4 is 4? That's the -1 power. So now I can graph all these after I've taken and multiplied my x values by a half. So 4 times a half is going to be 2. 1 times a half is a half. A quarter times a half is an eighth. And a 16th times a half is a 32nd. So this is going to be super squeezed. I'm going to go over 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to put a crosshash right there. So my new origin is at basically 3 and 0, and what I'm going to do is I'll move over 2, and in this case I'll go down 1. I'll move over a half, which is right around here, and I'll move up 0. I'll move over an eighth, which is pretty tiny, and up 1. And I'll move over a 32nd and up 2. So my graph will look approximately like this. And once again, that vertical asymptote will be at x equals 3. And that's all I've got for you today. Here are the first two questions. They're graphs, so I want you to just put them in your notebook, and I'll put the answers up tomorrow. And then the third question is a multiple choice, where I want you to match the graph with the functions on the right. Remember, the natural log is log base e, and that's equal to the natural log. Just something to remember. E, once again, is equal to 2.718-ish, right around there. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.